Hi farmers, this is day 5 of week number 1, and today we check in on the progress of our chicks on day 5 of 42. So we're starting off, you know the deal. You need to make sure that your biosecurity is always in place. So what I do is I don't wear my boots anywhere outside the coop. So it's not often that you'll see my boots in a pool of chem clean. My boots are always just inside the chicken coop, so I wear shoes around the house, around the yard, and as soon as I step into the coop, I jump into the boots. That's how I do my biosecurity. And right here, if you have noticed, is that we made the room darker just so that it promotes more growth. So the logic behind a dark room is that it puts the body in a state of relaxation as the chicks are developing to grow muscles and organs. This helps their bodies grow and also develop the necessary strength in the darkness. So it's kind of like the body is in hibernation mode, which is similar to you being asleep. And right before that, I was cleaning water. Remember, it's essential, as we discussed in day number 2, that having clean water is imperative to your chicks' growth and your chicks' progress. So today we'll be looking at why uneven chicks remain uneven forever. Most common misconception is that the small ones will eventually catch up. Well, that's not always the case. So what's really happening is that broiler chicks are bred to grow fast within the first 14 days. That early growth sets bone size, organ capacity, and digestive efficiency. When a chick falls behind early, these 3 things fall in place. Number 1, early growth creates a ceiling. So a chick that eats less or struggles to eat within 1 to 7 days develops smaller organs, builds a smaller body frame. Later, even if feed is available, it physically cannot grow as others because it didn't develop the organs or the body frame to have the capacity to hold the food or the water. So think of it like a small cup will always be a small cup. It can never grow to be a big cup. It can only carry the capacity that which it's made for. Point number 2, bigger birds always win access to food and water. And I hope you've realized that whenever you're feeding or giving your chicks water, is that you realize some chickens are bullies, and the bullies are actually the ones that are bigger, the ones that are stronger, and the ones that will actually push around to make sure that they always eat and they always have water to drink. So the smaller birds get pushed aside most of the time and often come later on when either the big ones have finished eating or there's just enough crumbs of food for the small ones to come eat. So that gap increases because sometimes the birds actually fight over the food or the resources that are available. Point number 3, stress hits smaller birds harder. Why is this the point? Because they lose heat faster, they get sick quicker, and they recover slower. And remember, when a bird is stressing, it's stressing about what? Food, stressing about heat, stressing about water. So if it doesn't have access to those things, surely that bird will suffer. Now, why does this cost you money, you may ask? Is that uneven birds lead to uneven birds at scale. So you'll be saying, okay, my birds weigh around 2.5 kgs to 3 kgs, but some birds actually weigh 1.5. Smaller birds eat almost the same amount of feed but still weigh less. Why is that the case? Because the capacity to carry the food and the water has not developed. Here's a real life warning that is very important. Farmers usually say, I'll just keep them longer. While sometimes it might help and other times it doesn't really do the trick. You need to remember that small birds convert feed even worse because they will eat more but the feed won't do anything to them. and keeping the birds for extra days would mean more feed, extra costs, and you might realize that later on the bird might die. So be careful and pay good attention to that. So what should you do instead? To prevent unevenness in the early phases of the birds, ensure, please ensure from day 1 to day 7, all chicks have drinking water. As soon as the birds arrive, make sure that the birds have water. Spread your feed evenly so that chicks aren't clogged up, there's no blockage, and there's access to feed throughout the whole coop. Number 2, what you need to check and correct very quickly is that if you notice uneven birds, separate those uneven birds, because eventually they'll die. So if you separate them, you'll allow them to surround themselves with smaller birds and therefore have the chance of surviving and developing and growing, because once it's around the big dogs, the big dogs don't play. And another point I want to leave is that after week number 2, if the bird is still small, chances are it will remain small, and that's just the reality of it. And if you do so, you'll just understand, okay, so this one I might have to sell or let go of cheaper or earlier. Why? It's because the longer you keep it, the more it will cost you. That was day 5, and I hope you enjoyed the knowledge and gems that I've dropped in this video. Remember, tomorrow is day 6 and we are almost at the end of week number 1. I have made a 30 bullet point gem system where you can follow to the T and allow yourself to maximize your profits as you raise your broilers or your chicks to adult broilers. The link is in the description. I also have a free download checklist for you to follow each and every day. It's kind of like a timetable where each and every day you'll come, tick off what you did. Give the birds clean water, clean the coop, fed the birds, gave the birds enough water, did my runarounds. That checklist will help you and save you the headache of forgetting, oops, what did I do? What did I miss? That checklist will help you. The link is in the description. It's absolutely free. If I were you, I'd take advantage of it, and in this new year, start my chick to broiler business as soon as possible. Remember, the link is in the description. It's free of charge, and thank you for watching. Stay tuned for day number 6.